the Druids. 3 plants were sacred to them. Not 2 plants, not 4 plants, but 3 plants were sacred to the Druids. And one of these plants is this plant. But is it death or dinner? Good morning, sausage. Yes, lots of plants were sacred to the Druids. In fact, just about everything was sacred to the Druids, as I've said before. But 3 plants in particular stood out. 3 were so magical and so mystical and so wonderful and so hengy. They were verbena, watermint, and this, meadowsweet. It smells amazing, actually. Meadowsweet's got this lovely kind of cherry vanilla kind of flavour. I made a panna cotta with it recently. That's how lovely it is. What do we know about it? It's kind of edible. I mean, it's more for the flavour. I don't think you'd get a big mouthful of this stuff. The leaves have a strange sort of smell. It smells a bit like germaline, like antiseptic cream, because it also contains salicin. Salicin is the precursor to aspirin, which is also contained in alder trees and willow trees in the bark. So it's actually a natural painkiller and anti-inflammatory. In fact, Elizabeth I absolutely loved this plant, but we know she smelled awful. She had to use oranges with cloves. She had black teeth. She had lead makeup, which made her skin pockmarked. So I should think anything would be good in those days. She probably would have actually thought Febreze was her favourite herb, but they didn't have it then, so they had this instead. So she filled her house with this. So you see these beautiful sort of cream-coloured sort of wisps of flowers all along places where it's a bit damp, sometimes along ditches, sometimes in marshland. And the leaves are these 3-pointed leaves, this reddish sort of stem. Now, the Druids had a bad habit of not writing anything down, but we do have some evidence that it was used in funeral rites, actually. Apparently it was put onto graves, and there was obviously this plant or seeds thereof, or pollen of it, have been found on graves. But also it was associated with femininity and beauty. Well, why is it those two things, beauty and death, seem to find themselves inextricably kind of woven together in mythology, through history and through literature? Goodness knows. I suppose it's a beautiful thing and it dies, and maybe they're like, oh, the sad flowers have died, let's associate that with all the horrible, dreadful, deadly things. And oh, accidentally the virgins at the henge got knocked down by a herd of boars, and that's very sad. Let's get our favourite flower and try to forget. And I've got a hurty finger where I punched one of the boars that was trying to attack the virgins, and so I had to take some salicin, which made me feel better. I mean, of course, none of this is true, because everybody knows that Druids didn't use henges, or did they? I don't know. Every time I mention Druids and henges, oh, Druids didn't use henges. Well, show me. They didn't write anything down. There was like the only thing that Druids ever wrote down was, whatever you think about whatever we didn't use henges. We didn't sacrifice goats. What boars? What virgins? I don't know. I like to think of the Druids as these wild people that did absolutely everything, but perhaps they were just lovely people who knelt in little circles making daisy chains and prayed. Have a wonderful day.